So my name is Ken Taya, also known as Enfu. My street name is Enfu. Or maybe I should say my name is Enfu, also known as Ken Taya.
He has some of the best work. I have a piece at my house and I just am always excited about the work he has coming out.
I love the color, his illustration work. He's probably like one of the better well-known artists that came out of Seattle right now.
How I feel when I see his work. I feel very happy.
There's no one in the Japan American community or anyone who's familiar with the Asian American community who doesn't know about Enfu.
I was born in Chicago, and my parents are both Japanese. They met in college. I moved to Delaware for most of my childhood, 7 years, and then we moved to Seattle. I think the first encounter that I had with knowing that I was different was probably when I got called a Jap for the first time. And that was like in 3rd grade. It was kind of awkward for me. Like, I didn't understand where that hate was coming from. We moved to Japan for 1 year in Sendai. I moved there when I was in 6th grade. I thought, well, finally I'm going back to a place where no one will call me a Jap. And already in middle school it was kind of hard trying to fit in and everything. And my Japanese was not very good. They kind of treated me like a disabled child a little bit. Like, oh, he looks Japanese but he can't speak, he must be slow. You know, being called out for being racially different kind of sucked. Then being called out for just being different but racially the same, that kind of shook my world. But there were things that I did well at. There's a painting class where they started painting in watercolor, and it was the first time I touched the medium at all. I never experienced any painting before. And then the teacher was very shocked at my ability to paint. That teacher was really empowering to me, because I remember it. He indulged me in like, hey, this is pretty good, you know, you should keep doing this. I loved video games growing up, and you know, watching Saturday morning cartoons and playing video games and reading manga. Those are all things that every kid does, I think. So, you know, I just wanted to make games. Right now, I'm currently a professional game developer, doing that for about 11 years now. The games that I was working on, they were all gritty and horror, real-world first-person shooter type games, and I wanted to try something else more artistic, so I started screen printing. Pull it from this side? I started selling them at Emerald City Comic Con, and that's kind of my first exposure to being out there. The convention scene was easier for me to get into than like an art gallery scene.
Hello. Wait, is this the one in
Blue Sea? Yeah, I did that.
That's you.
That's me.
I'm on page 44.
You know, hundreds of people walking by your work.
You want one too? That'll be 60.
There you go.
Thank you, and we'll get them out to you as soon as possible.
And I started realizing I need content to draw. I can't just draw a tree and people like it. I needed to make it, you know, my tree or whatnot. So I was like, well, something I care about and understand are just cultural differences. I found myself defending American views when I was in Japan and defending Japanese views when I was in America. And you're basically this person who's always taking the other side, kind of a bridge, person who tries to bridge two different worlds. And you know, you're really presented with a lot of conflicting values. So I had this period where I was just combining East and West themes. I coined it hybrid hip-hop. The very first piece was Taco Truck, which is a combination of taco trucks in the US and then takoyaki stand, or yatai in Japan. And and then I combined Superman and Ultraman. The superheroes in the US are all very buff. The superheroes in Japan aren't buff at all, they're really skinny. What does that say about masculinity? Whenever I see content that points back to my identity, it's empowering. Not just Japanese American specific stuff, but just empowering other Asian Americans. My daughter came in my life and it made me soft. I think being a father makes everybody soft. A lot more of my stuff's now become cute, flowery things. And I think that generally just appeals to more people. The next step of my commentary was in comic form. I did I Fight Rainbow in a local magazine called Ibuki for about 3 years. Social situations are hard, even in one language. I wanted to be able to comment on that in the comic. Just processing out what I was thinking. I built an audience of people that were dealing with their own cross-cultural battles.
Yeah, I know a lot of my friends they have a lot of his posters and stuff up in their apartments and their houses and those sort of things. And so I've kind of known of his art around, and then finding out on social media about, especially like today's drop, was pretty cool.
Hey, it's the Wing Loop crowd. All right.
I know, I was hoping.
Here you go.
Thank you.
I started selling my work at Kobo, and my work was well received here.
We loved his just his sensibility and this kind of cross-cultural, Western and Eastern, Japan and America together, because that's basically what Ken is, a blending of those two cultures. A lot of us are a blending of those two cultures as well.
I like the colors he uses. It's fun. I have this really tall poster of one he did. It looked like a vending machine, and I was like, I have to have this artist. And since then, we've been stalking him at every con that we go to.
Thank you. What's your name?
May.
May?
Yeah,
Nice to meet
I think
you.
we harassed you last year at the San Diego.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
But yeah, awesome.
I'll be there again, full
Okay.
force.
We'll see you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Tell your friends.
I will, definitely. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I've always learned from my dad. He would always wake up early in the morning and study, and I picked up that habit. But he also encouraged me. He actually said, before I went to college, you need to learn the value of $1. So he sent me up to Alaska to work in the cannery. I think the record for how long I worked in 1 week was 117 hours, and that was pretty grueling. That still, by far, is my benchmark for what hard work is. Enfu Cute Grit is a compilation of 10 years of my work. It touches into some of the exploration I did, some of the struggles I dealt with. My process lays out how I draw things. And it explores that transition we're talking about, from my content changing from being about my Asian American identity to just being a father, and just how you can see my work change.
Well, I appreciate you guys coming out tonight. I know it's all rainy and everything is all dark and it's not really kid-friendly time, but I appreciate you guys making it here.
Oh, that's awesome.
As an artist myself, I like looking at his stuff, his icons, his little cute chibis. It shows a lot of emotions in each one of those.
The big body of work in the book turned out to be what we began with, which was just pages and pages and pages of these amazing chibi characters. And every time I would look at these pages, it would make me so tired realizing all the time that went into drawing them. And as someone who I work with visual art all the time, but don't consider myself that much of a drawer, it just makes me insanely jealous to see all this stuff.
These are created with other things in mind, so not just texting, but games. Module games, matching games, memory games. I have a whole list of games that I want to make with these.
We've run into each other in a couple of shows, and one year we just, struck up a conversation, and he's like, hey, do you want to collaborate? And it'll come on. We started off with hats, and that's basically how we got started.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of value in exploring.
So this particular black and white hat will put our Enfu, kind of like mech pattern, on the inside of the base.
Would you sign it?
Yeah, of course.
It's anywhere on the orange?
On the orange right here?
Yeah.
All right, have that. And we're making billfolds, plushies, stuff like that. We're R&Ding a bunch of things. The resin blocks, all my art, my posters. Also, we're making like leggings.
That you can definitely spot them from a mile away. And we're looking towards the future, and we're just thinking of other just fun products that we can just kind of take it and put our own spin on it and run with.
Well, my favorite piece of his is actually wasn't like the stuff from Tokyo, you know, like my actually was the bags he did for Wajimaya.
The guys at Blue Sea Sushi approached me and said, would you like to do a mural? And we want to incorporate the coolness of Tokyo with kind of a modern American lifestyle. And in the background, I drew Wajimaya. So I made that poster and we sold it here. And then
we got one of the prints, and my wife noticed that he has a little sign that says Wajimaya in kanji, and I hadn't noticed it. So I sent him an email saying, you know, thanks for the shout out, and thanks for including us in your print, and I got one. And he emailed me back the next day, and you know, so that he enjoyed shopping at Wajimaya, and that if we ever had a project for him, that he'd be interested.
Because for me, that was a big part of my childhood. Wajimaya was the one place where you see a whole bunch of people that look like you there. This is a place for me, is kind of what Wajimaya became. I mean, who thinks that about a grocery store? But to me, that's what it was, and it was a big deal.
So I ran it by my boss, and she was in. So we just started communicating about a bag.
The first bag I did with all the stuff coming out of the back, that's paying homage to their roots.
We had a lot of sponsors for that. The next bag is our freshness bag, which has one side filled with all of our fresh produce, and the flip side has all of our fresh seafood.
They're super detailed. He was telling me about how many hours he spent meticulously researching the look and the type of each and the color of each, like fruit and vegetable and all the seafood and everything in it. It really shows the depth and breadth of like Asian, like basically Asian American food.
Every bag we release is, you know, does well.
I think through Wajimaya, all I have to do is say, you know the guy that does the Wajimaya bags? Since I have a store in Japantown, I have kids coming in all the time with the parents and by themselves, and it's really fascinating who is been captured by J-pop and anime and all that, and it's a tremendous cross-section of America. I mean, we have kids from the Midwest and they're on vacation and they want to come down to Japantown, and they want to go to Kinokuniya, and they want to, you know, see what Japantown's about, and Ken fits right into that of keeping it contemporary and refreshed, which everything needs to be. This project evolved out of the idea that we were going to do a wayfinding sign for each of the 3 sub-neighborhoods of our greater Chinatown International District neighborhood, and those would be Japantown, Chinatown, and Little Saigon. Paul Murakami, whose family owns this building, was saying, you know, we need something that's fun if we're going to do something kind of untraditional for wayfinding, like wrapping switch boxes.
I'll let you do your thing.
And then right there, I mean, it came up in a discussion, and it was everyone in the group knew who Ken was and recognized him. It was a pretty easy sell, if you would, you know.
Oh, I'm so happy to see this. You've been talking about it for a while.
I know, it's been a long time, right?
Yeah.
Looks good.
Good job, man.
Thank you,
awesome.
thank you.
We're going to have one up on 5th and Main, and then one down here on Maynard and Jackson. The one directly outside of Momo will say Japantown on it. These are the ones that are actually going to have wayfinding signs on them.
There's a dichotomy of preservation. When you preserve something, you're preserving something that's old. So you got to reinterpret it to make it appealing to younger people. Young people have a hard time putting value on those things. And the older you get, you value those. Just by the way I'm drawing it, give it kind of a modern spin or modern interpretation. It reminds people of anime and games. It's every artist does this. They make the old new again.
Okay. Oh, I just absolutely love it. I feel like it really brightens up our corner and it brings attention to what we're trying to accomplish in this neighborhood. I think it's really wonderful. It's very attractive to I think people of all ages and all cultures. It's really happy making.
My vision for art is I believe that it should be enjoyed and consumed. I consume all these things all of my life, so I feel like I can give back, you know?
Because he does so much charity work, he donates so much of his stuff and his time, and he gets his name out there. It's great.
He does a lot of festivals, does a lot of community events.
He's grown so much in the years that I've seen, like going from like doing the smaller events and now going out. Now he's in New York City Comic Con. He's doing more things in San Diego Comic Con. It is significant.
He's a great role model for young people who want to pursue doing something creatively.
We're always talking about the new work that's coming out and really excited about just seeing any new creations he has to bring to the public.
Yeah, the list is long, it's never ending. I have no shortage of work to create for myself. But again, it's, when I say work, it's fun for me. I just love to draw. I've always loved to draw since I was a kid. You know, my best mode is I have coffee and I have music and I'm just drawing, and I could do that for forever.